My heart bleeds when I see how Formula One behaves towards my son. If these were the words of most paddock parents, we probably wouldn't think much of it. I can hear the collective womp womp from Twitter a mile away. However, when it's an ex-world champion of the sport talking about his son's determined and unrelenting approach to getting the family name on the constructors leaderboard, only to be undermined and subverted by clear and obvious self-interest and lack of sporting desire, despite the go-ahead from the sport's governing body, well then it becomes much harder to brush off. This isn't Harry Maguire's mum talking here, this is Mario Andretti, racing legend in multiple disciplines and Formula One world champion. However, rest easy Mario, as it seems like your heart may be at peace before too long, because if word emanating from the Andretti facilities is to be believed, the All-American Dream Team is not taking no for an answer. Want to know the updates surrounding Andretti's entry? They're going about it all with the delicacy of a steamroller, and we are here for it. And stick around, because it's not just the infrastructure that Andretti is preparing, as they've been making some pretty savvy moves in the personnel department. So let's take a brief reminder of the situation. Michael Andretti, owner of the Andretti Motorsport team, 18-time world champions over multiple racing series, has faced constant rebuffs ever since uttering the words Andretti F1 team all those years ago. Whether being denied the purchase of any team with no one even willing to open up talks of a sale to the American autosport giant, or being told there is no more room at the inn for a new team by the already existing ones. The FIA have received and accepted the formal application after opening up the sport to a new 11th entrant. However, the 10 existing teams as well as Liberty Media have been unwilling to budge on the prospect. Despite Formula One being more valuable than it's ever been, with each team working under a cost cap limiting their spend, all 10 teams have made it clear that they are unwilling to slice the pie any further than it already is. Their approach is just buy a team, much to the chagrin of the Andretti family. Liberty is also unwilling to budge, believing that the exclusivity of the 10 teams preserves the value of the paddock. Despite wanting to pillage American audiences for all they're worth, they are not willing to let them have a team they can actually identify with. And no, I'm not counting Haas as that. Despite all of these roadblocks being put in their way, the American racing outfit has been dealing with them in a typically American way, plowing straight through them. That's right, Andretti is taking the suggestions from the paddock and wiping with them, pushing on with the process of bringing the All-American Racing Dream Team to fruition, with them continuing their preparations to enter the grid as early as 2025. The team's technical director Nick Chester, a name you will recognize if you were watching the sport's pre-Drive to Survive, has laid out why the team is pushing onwards with their preparations, and in all fairness, it's a pretty strong case to believe in that Chester puts across, as he had this to say to motorsport.com. I think obviously we'd prefer to have the formal entry and a target year for that bit of focus, but I think we were very happy with the process we went through with the FIA. It was very rigorous and we ticked all the boxes, and we're heads down trying to push on to have a competitive car ready for whatever year the entry becomes. I think everyone's reasonably confident given the funding, the Andretti name, the tie-up with GM doing their own power unit for 2028, that it should happen. I think the nice thing is, it's a group of people who are completely on the same page and really enjoying growing a new team, and that makes it a lot of fun and makes it exciting. So big names, big money, big effort. The F1 trifecta, which some of the time wasters on the grid don't even fulfill. So why all the preparations? Well, as Chester would go on to say, the more preparations they do now, the more likely they are to hit the ground running when they inevitably get dropped in last minute, likely out of pure spite and to make all the other teams and Liberty Media look like they were correct about this whole ordeal. We really wouldn't expect anything less if we were honest. When asked about a cutoff date for a 2025 entry, Andretti's technical director had this to say: "We don't really have one, just the earlier we know, the better car we can do. It's really tricky, it's a super tough question, because you want to have that confirmation of entry and an entry date so that you can time the recruitment of all of your staff. Obviously we're still building up, but you would build up even quicker post-entry. The cutoff date is a bit more of a compromise in terms of performance, so you can start pushing it later, but you can just end up doing a worse car. The longer it drags out, it makes it harder to put a competitive car on the grid." And it's not just the infrastructural and developmental foundations that are being built, as unlike Audi, Andretti has not been struggling to lure in the engineering talent, some of which are even being poached from teams like Red Bull and Mercedes. All of this before being formally accepted into the Piranha Club. But why? Surely being part of a safe, already established brand is the aim for any ambitious engineer. For our viewers stateside, that was sarcasm. Obviously, Andretti is a hot property, malleable to the visions of all of those ambitious enough to take the leap, something that surprised the technical director. I was pleasantly surprised at how easy it was to get people involved in the project. A new team and the Andretti name have great appeal. A blank slate tends to have a very proactive culture. We have brought people in from Red Bull, Ferrari, Mercedes and McLaren to us. They all wanted a new challenge. It is the real potential to shape departments that is very attractive. It's a team that wants to do it right and win. So the ball is firmly in the court of Liberty and the teams, as it's hard to argue the commitment the team has, and even harder to deny the benefits of the team joining the grid, both for fans and competition, as highlighted by team owner Michael Andretti in a recent interview with The Athletic, where he feigned naivety about the team's reasoning for objecting to the American team's entry, despite ticking every possible box. As Mohammed Ben Sulayem has said multiple times, the benefits we will bring to the sport and the championship are so obvious. I can't imagine anyone would want to try and stop us, and deprive racing fans of an opportunity to see a genuine American works team going head-to-head with the legendary names currently competing in F1. One key element that the team is missing for their entry to the sport is a team principal, or at least an overt member of the team given this title. There has been much speculation, from existing team principals to racing legends having their name thrown in the hat by eager onlookers whether they make any sense or not. The name that so many people are foaming at the mouth for is Sebastian Vettel, as it seems like they'd take his return in just about any capacity. Trouble at the top of the FIA? Call in Seb. Driver isn't delivering? I know just the four-time champ. Need a team principal? Just get Vettel in. While we understand everyone's enthusiasm about the once hated, now revered German's return to the paddock, it is getting a bit tiresome. Now, this is by no means to say that he wouldn't be good at the job. Matter of fact, he'd probably be great, as many are crediting him for the huge upturn at Aston Martin last year and him pretty much single-handedly holding Ferrari together back in the 2010s. A bright mind with a plethora of experience, we think Seb would actually handle the job well. But please stop forcing it. If he is to return, then we will celebrate him doing so. However, the Vettel-branded plaster that gets put over every crack, regardless of its likelihood, is getting pretty dull. The other more likely options in our eyes are dependent on which way the team goes. If it's a fresh-faced 11th entry, warts and all, then we think the trackside leader of the Andretti team could be the man himself, Michael Andretti, as he would want the face of the brand to be all over the coverage of the team. With all the hard work put into getting the team running, it would be a massive risk to helm his own team into the inaugural season, but one that, if nothing else, Andretti would have the conviction to take on at full force. And worst comes to it, he could always take the Zach Brown role of showing his face as the CEO. The other is to go with an already established team principal, whether one looking for redemption the fans would like to get behind through an admiration of their star power and image, like Steiner or Binotto, which we think would be unlikely due to Andretti not wanting to take any risks when it comes to their strong start, or in our eyes the most sensible prospect, the man who heralded Andretti to the Formula E World Championship last year, Roger Griffiths. He has proven stable hands and is a sensible choice with a long-running relationship with the team of over a decade. So who do you think would be the right man for the job? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below.